Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Another episode of Star Wars discussions. So this is something that dropped yesterday evening or so, and I'm glad I decided to wait because I wanted to think about it a little bit more before I went live and decided to talk about this. This is a popular discussion among Star Wars fans, those that are left in whatever pockets that you tend to fall into. There's been an ongoing debate amongst fans whether or not Empress KK is going to be leaving Lucasfilm. Well, is she leaving in August? She's going to leave by the end of the year. She's going to leave tomorrow or whatever it is. It's always been an ongoing debate amongst fans. And looks like it might finally have what some of us have been wanting for quite some time. But Dave Filoni, it looks like, according to Zardware.com, and veteran executive expected to replace Kathleen Kennedy as Lucasfilm co-presidents. And the moral of the story is it changes nothing. If she left tomorrow, like what is left to do with Star Wars at this point? What is left? Luke is gone. Han is gone. I honestly don't know if Chewbacca's still around. I don't know if Lando's still around. Like all the original trilogy characters are gone. And they had that amazing Luke Skywalker cameo in The Mandalorian, but did nothing with it. Since then, nothing interesting. And that little appearance in the Boba Fett show doesn't count. Should have been Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Academy series or something. But this changes nothing. If anything, I think Filoni could be worse than Kennedy, honest truth. I mean, he knows his stuff. He's pretty knowledgeable about the franchise, but unfortunately, I think his biggest weakness is he's obsessed with Ahsoka Tano. Like, I don't think this guy knows anything about the Old Republic or the EU. I mean, they've cherry-picked a lot of stuff in the expanded universe. After Kennedy was like, oh, no, it doesn't exist. There's no source material. Except there is source material. There has always been source material since the original trilogy in the 80s. There are books that take place the minute that the second Death Star blows up. Like I'm talking like X-Wing fighters going to their ships the second the Death Star blows up. I'm not gonna read those books, but this. Like a lot of people are going to probably point out, like, oh, she's a great producer. She's a great producer, and this and that. I'm like, well, the thing is, no one really watches any of these movies because of her. No one watches Jaws or Indiana Jones or Jurassic Park because of Kathleen Kennedy. Like, oh, but George Lucas appointed her. Yeah, he did. But then she still made this mess with the power she was given that she never should have had in the first place. She used to serve coffee before George appointed her and gave her his throne. As far as I'm concerned, she should have stayed serving coffee. Just look at the facts, right? Everything that's happened to her watch. 1313 canceled. Movie announced, canceled. Movie announced, canceled. Solo bombed at the box office. Like, this is like, what, maybe a couple months after the last Turd came out and destroyed Luke Skywalker as a character. Solo bombed. Rogue Zero is a ripoff of Dark Forces from the expanded universe. There's a bunch of TV shows. None of those really make their money, but point is, Filoni started off with animation in the Clone Wars series, which I absolutely adore. I love the Clone Wars series. I like Ahsoka as a character. I don't think Filoni is the person that you pick to run this company because Lucasfilm is not just Star Wars, it's Indiana Jones, it's Willow, both of which have failed under Kennedy's regime. Willow isn't even on Disney Plus anymore. that TV show sequel to the original 1980 film, it's not on Disney Plus anymore. That's how bad it is. I'm like, I don't know how much longer Warwick Davis is going to be with us. How are you going to just destroy that character and all the potential that show had? He didn't even get a second season. Ugh. Yeah, Filoni is, I don't think he's the right guy to do this takeover, if it's true. Supposedly this is breaking news and supposedly this is actually going to happen. Don't know when. Still not saying when she's going to leave. Only thing we know right now is that we got some potential runners up to take over her throne. But like the problem with that I have with Filoni is that, like I mentioned, he doesn't really seem to be knowledgeable of Star Wars material outside of the original trilogy, which has always been a problem with Disney Wars. It's always on the run from the Empire, we're going to tell this in between story, and this is another boring ass in between story about some random guy that got blown up in the only film we've ever been in. Now, the idea of Andor guy is interesting, but I don't think it really works overall. Just seems like a pointless story to begin with. So, like, Lucasfilm's problem has always been the lack of creativity outside of the original trilogy, and Kennedy leaving isn't going to change that. If Filoni is going to step up as president of Lucasfilm, I mean, it's going to have to do more than just crank out in between stories because Star Wars is so much more than the original trilogy, especially for those of us that grew up with the expanded universe, like myself. There's so many other stories you can tell. I look at freaking the video games have done this. Like we got at least 2 Old Republic games coming out: Fate of the Old Republic and Star Wars Eclipse. Have both been announced. Fate of the Old Republic were announced recently at the Game Awards, but for some reason we can't seem to do this with the movies, which has always confused me because it's so simple. Like it changes nothing. Candy has left such a mess in her wake. Even if she were to retire today and Foley took up the reins, like there's nothing left to work with. And that's just being realistic. There's nothing left to work with. Like you had your chance with the original actors to pump out these movies, tell these stories for like the next 2 decades, as long as they're with us. I still think they should have recast the original characters for a Legacy of the Force adaptation, and then use the original actors for like the standalone stories or whatever, just to keep them relevant, but then keep the story moving forward. But Disney's problem has always been they're still stuck in this sandbox, and they still can't get out. And that problem not going away if she leaves. It's more like if she leaves because we've been here before. Will she leave? Is she leaving? When is she leaving? We still don't have an actual release date for when she's leaving the franchise. Let's look at this article here. It says early last year, we first learned Lucasfilm president KK was gearing up to step down from her executive role. The news was welcomed by Star Wars fans who lost faith in Kennedy's vision for the franchise. Her vision? Is that what we're calling it now? She has no vision. George Lucas had a vision, and he tossed it out the window. Kennedy has no vision. Her vision was to use Rey as a friggin' means of sending a message. The only reason Rey exists was to replace Luke Skywalker. That's the only reason she exists. And then they turned out that she's the freaking Palpatine or something. And they kind of shat the bed with that one. As it says, it appears Disney has now found Lucasfilm's new co-presidents. According to a report from Puck, Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan will take over from Kennedy. The latter is being promoted from her general manager position and is set to oversee executive duties while Filoni will oversee creative development. I mean, I guess that can work. He's still staying on as creative director and whatnot. That seems to be where his strength lies, specifically with the Clone Wars and all that. Like, all right. An official announcement is expected to be made in a matter of weeks, and the setup doesn't sound all that different from how Peter Safran and James Gunn run DC Studios. George Lucas mentored Filoni. Yeah, it's true. After cutting his teeth as a creative on the Clone Wars, he's since worked alongside Jon Favreau to spearhead Star Wars streaming stories. After taking charge of Ahsoka in 2023, Filoni is knee-deep in pre-production of Season 2 and still expected to direct his own Star Wars movie. Now that, I don't know if that's a good idea. That could be the same hole that George let himself into by directing all 3 prequels. I think in George had just handed the reins off to someone else to direct at least 2 of 3 of the prequels. Like with the original trilogy, they might not have been as negatively received. Now I'll tell you this, like Solo bombed at the box office. No Star Wars film under George Lucas has ever bombed. Not one. That's the difference. Initially, Kennedy found great success in the role. Star Wars Force Awakens was a box office hit that grossed $2 billion worldwide. Some fans didn't love the movie because it sucked, but it was a critical success. And 2 years later, the last third was another win. Another win. Rogue Zero is a ripoff of Dark Forces. Also grossed over $1 billion in 2016. See positive reviews and did it now. The trouble started when she fired, when she fired filmmakers Chris Lord and Phil Miller in the middle of shooting Solo. And then longtime friend Ron Howard. And that was the problem, right? There was one vision with those dudes, and then they had to change it to bring Ron Howard in. Ron Howard has a lot of experience in the filmmaking business. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but still, to change up the vision of the film in the middle of filming is ridiculous. But it's all happened under her rule. Longtime friend Ron Howard was enlisted to finish the project, but it was a flop. In 2019, The Rise of Palpatine was panned by critics and fans alike as a disappointing conclude to the Skywalker saga. Yeah, I didn't bother going to see that in theaters. Like I made a video not long ago saying that Lucasfilm is never going to make a good Star Wars film because they can't seem to get competent person to actually lead the charge, and it's not going to change. If Kennedy leaves, it's always going to be their problem, staying in the same box, never branching out. So many different aspects of Star Wars that you can do. You could do a Band of Brothers series or something. You could do a murder mystery, or Nashada or something. Like the only area of Star Wars that seems to be creative are the damn video games. But the video games have always been top notch. But like for some reason, these movies they all fall into the same damn category. Freaking On the Run from the Empire or some making Kenobi or Luke Skywalker into failures. But we've seen other failings when we then entered an era of movies being announced only for them to never materialize. See, and that's most of her career at Lucasfilm right there. Announcing and canceling projects. It's really all she's done. The franchise has found success on streaming with the likes of The Mandalorian. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Andor guy. Well, there have still been notable missteps, including the Book of Boba Fett. Someone have to fill me on that one. I didn't bother to see that piece of crap show because Boba Fett's always been a shitty character. He's never been this badass that people want him to be. Like never. Not even in the freaking EU. Never. He has like what? One line of dialogue. And Empire Strikes Back, and then he goes like and he gets killed like a cartoon character. You mean that character? And give that guy a TV show? And then the Acolyte, which I heard the Acolyte was bad. I didn't watch that second episode. I didn't want to like damage my mind or anything. I shouldn't do more of that crap. Unfortunately, this shift has turned Star Wars into a TV property. Not really. Now, here it is. We've seen other failings on Kennedy's watch, including Disney's Willow. See, Disney's Lucasfilm, which is not just Star Wars, Willow and Indiana Jones, which was panned by creation later pulled from the streamer altogether. They pulled it from the damn streaming service. You can't even find it on it. You can't even find it on Disney Plus anymore. That's how bad it is. It's all happening under Kennedy rule. And like, you really think Filoni's going to be able to fix this? Like, give me a break. This lady then took a dump and smeared it on the damn toilet seat and left it for someone else to clean up. Except you can't. And Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What the hell? Another finale widely considered a letdown. I didn't bother. Indiana Jones begins and ends with Raiders of the Lost Ark, as far as I'm concerned. Everything else is just fan fiction. Like, I don't know what old ass Harrison Ford is going to be doing Indiana Jones at this point. No offense, of course. Indiana Jones is an action character. Harrison ain't doing his stunts no more. So, even now, several Star Wars movies have been announced that still haven't come to fruition. Shocker. With Brennan handling the business side, Filoni will be free to get this galaxy far away back on track. Yeah, right. At a time when Lucasfilm was struggling to move on from this, who never got the damn Skywalker saga? Who got a friggin' Palpatine saga? He isn't a Skywalker. She's freaking Palpatine's grandkid or something. I don't remember. That's how bad it is. I saw that movie once and never watched it again. Jenny had a couple of projects left before she goes, including Dismay's The Mandalorian and Grogu. What the? And next year's Star Wars Starfighter, the animated Star Wars, make a Darth Maul TV show. Gotta be shitting me. Shadow Lord is on the way, but work appears to have paused on any live-action TV shows beyond Ahsoka. That means it's suddenly been canceled. Let's not kid ourselves. And just look at the comments here. And just like that, Ahsoka Tano is the new Tatooine. I mean, as long as you're obsessed with that character, it really is. He doesn't seem to know anything else outside of the original trilogy or the Clone Wars. There's a problem. It's a problem creatively, and it's a problem just, it's always been the problem with Lucasfilm. And it's not going away just because Kennedy might leave. Should have been from the beginning. Imagine 7 through 9 if Kennedy never been there. Will it really make a difference? Like let's say that Jar Jar Abrams had directed 7 through 9. Do you think they're going to be any better than they are now? And that dude just copies and pastes everything he does. He never made nothing original in his pathetic career. Never. Star Trek, and then Into Darkness is a freaking Wrath of Khan remake. The first one, I can't even tell you because I have no idea. It didn't really feel like Star Trek because Star Trek isn't really, action based. Trekkies, feel free to comment on that one, confirm that. But I don't recall Star Trek being very action based, so I don't think Jar Jar was the right person to direct those. He just completely destroyed Star Wars with Disney War 7. That's where this mess started. Says you still have Bob Iger and Abrams who were really steering the ship. Abrams wasn't steering no ship. You just put the flag down and then pass it on to another idiot. You just made stuff worse. Nah, Abrams just made the first movie. They had no plan after that. And Roundhead was given control. And he did such a bad job. They brought Abrams to try and fix everything. Abrams wasn't steering anything. No one was steering anything, and that's the problem. They just approached that trilogy with no overall plan. Lucas had a plan, and they threw it out the window. I think a lot of that was Disney's fault. They rushed them to get a movie out by 2015. Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, as soon as Lucas signed over Star Wars to Lucasfilm, Bob Iger announced a film for 2015. So Lucas signed over Star Wars in 2012, and then there was already plans made for the first film in 2015, which would have been 2 years later. So they already had that part mapped out at least, but they had no overall. They had no overall schematic or blueprint for the franchise, and that's why. And that's how we got to where we are now. Where I don't want to say no one cares, but there's a couple of pockets of fans out there that still give a damn about the movies, the new ones. I mean, for me, it's just original trilogy, prequels, and the expanding universe. That's all I need. Abrams is no longer involved with Star Wars. If Filoni was involved from the start, I firmly believe there would have been an overarching plan, which we know is not the case with Kennedy involved. No, I don't know if I believe that. See, I don't think Filoni would be any better than Kennedy on this trip. I think isn't he one of her soldiers or something? Doesn't he actually believe in her cause and stuff? Because, again, I don't think this guy is the right fit for. He's not going to be like the main head of the studio. He's going to be like a co-president, apparently. But still, creatively, Lucasfilm's problem has always been It's like they're afraid to go beyond the original trilogy and do something that's actually original. They haven't done it yet, and they won't. Been saying it for years. Like, knew from the beginning that Lucasfilm was going to destroy this franchise. The moment Lucas sold it, I'm like, it's a wrap. He's going to run this into the ground, and they did. What can they do now? The only way for the Star Wars universe to have a chance is to move away from everything we know. See? Exactly. But with the Force is the only element that remains constant. So I don't even know. They did so much damage with that Acolyte show. They can't even really say what the Force is anymore because now just so many other interpretations, I guess, if you will. Yeah, it's just like it's kind of thrown up in the air at this point. You can go by original trilogy standards, or the stuff with the prequels with those midichlorian stuff, which I just ignore completely. Or you can just go by what is it, a thread or something with the Acolyte show or something. I didn't bother watching that part, so. As a casual Star Wars fan, film and TV only love 4, 5, and 6. Everything else has been hit or miss. I slowly eroding my interest, which is basically gone now. Kind of shows that stay away from the core story. Oh yeah, Skeleton Crew. That show kind of sucked too. So, giving any hope that story outside of the core never can work. No. And the Skeleton Crew was interesting. I'll give it that. You got to see different parts of the galaxy, which was kind of cool. I don't remember what timeline it's from, but as far as I remember, there's no Empire, at least not directly. But that might be the first show that actually went beyond the movies and it kind of bombed. No one talked about it anymore. I don't remember anything about it except for the annoying kids. I know one kid, that one girl was a pain in the ass. Reminded me of someone that I drop kicked a while ago. Basically, either go way into the future after everything that's come before, or they should do Knights of the Republic. Yeah, I kind of want to stay away from like the game version of Old Republic. If you're gonna do that era, do something relatively new and original, like the games. Like Fate of the Old Republic looks amazing. It has nothing to do with rap as far as I know. But if they're gonna do Old Republic, I would say just do something original and base it on that era, but don't do it like shot for shot of the game or anything. Because they're never gonna get it right. Because I tell you right now, if Kennedy remains in power, Reverend will be a woman, and this will be not a Mary Sue McRae. As long as they do it right, which I don't have any confidence in them doing. Exactly. Interesting if true. A similar setup to Gun and Saffron. DC sounds ideal. Since Filoni has creative experience with no business and vice versa. Yeah, that's all the more reason why I shouldn't be directing any movies. Because it takes a lot more than creativity to direct a film. With Brennan so they can cover for each other's weaknesses. I like Filoni, but I'm a bit concerned about him in this position, even though he's already been managing the creative side of Star Wars for a while, since his sensibilities align with Lucas's. Yeah, I don't know about that. But being inspired by the likes of westerns and samurai films. Not so much a matter of turning on him, just he's not he's not the one that should be doing this. Filoni was trained by Lucas himself as a replacement. It would make sense to pair him with a seasoned executive similar to what DCU did with James Gunn. He may be more hit or miss, but at least actually has strong hits and brings new ideas. What new ideas? All we've done is rinse and repeat. Every other freaking story that they put out is someone on the run from the freaking Empire or another Death Star. Again, we've never seen that before. Someone wrote down a list of the shows coming out and movies, I guess. Number 1 is Mandalorian Grogu or something. Ahsoka Season 2, Star Wars Tales. Tales of the Empire was pretty good. I thought Tales of the Jedi kind of sucked. Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord. He's not even a Sith anymore. So I'm like, what could they possibly do with that? Maul and Boba Fett are both shitty characters. I don't understand why they're so popular. I don't get it. Someone please explain it to me. It's like, honestly, to me, I feel like Sam Witwer is being wasted. His talent's being wasted on a stupid Darth Maul show. He's not even a Sith or anything. He's not even anything. Shadow Lord. Dude doesn't see a freaking thing in the Phantom Menace. Gets chopped in half, resurrected in a children's cartoon. Then he gets killed again in another kid's cartoon. The Space Aladdin show. Then he shows up out of nowhere in the awful Solo movie. And now they're going to make a freaking TV show about the guy? I'm like, really? They really are out of ideas. Which one are you interested in, if any? Probably Star Wars Tales. If we can do like Tales of the Old Republic or something, or like Band of Brothers, something original. This one says, I love Doubtful, and the guy gets it. Not really. And someone replied, the dude botched Sabine and Ezra in his first live action outing, his characters. Ha! Yeah, exactly. And he destroyed Thrawn as well. So there's no excuse for that. Okay, he's not good in live action. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He still has a stamp on it. Those are his characters. I'd rather he stays a creative behind the camera, not direct anything. Exactly. I have him stay in his corner of the fan base, be a creative person. Doesn't need to direct anything. Doesn't need to make any major decisions. And I'm telling you right now, this Mandalorian movie crossover thing, I can tell you right now, Luke is not going to be in it. He's going to have Ahsoka go up against Thrawn instead of Luke. Some nonsense. Okay, he's obsessed with that character for some reason. She should have been killed in the Space Aladdin show after she fought Vader in that temple. Trained by Anakin, killed by Vader. Comes around full circle. That's where she should have been better end. Then they introduced all this time travel crap, and it's made everything mad weird. And some is just some more of the same. Nothing to see here, folks. Exactly. I don't think there's going to be anything worth getting excited about. I mean, where's there? What's left?
There are great myths in the world. The Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot. But maybe the greatest of all time is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is retiring from Lucasfilm. Now, look, you've heard it a million times before. For like the last 8 or 9 years, ever since The Last Jedi came out, people have been saying she's getting fired tomorrow. It's happening next week, today, tonight at 7:30 on Fox. It's all happening. And then it never happened. But according to the news, it's officially happening. So let's take a look at this, folks. Dave Filoni officially taking over Star Wars as Lucasfilm president. The galaxy is about to get a new leader. Ooh, yay. Via Puck News, Disney is reportedly set to confirm that longtime Star Wars creative Dave Filoni will take over Lucasfilm as Kathleen Kennedy steps down from her role as Lucasfilm president. Reportedly set to confirm. What the hell is that? But I'll continue on. In the next week or two, Disney will finally confirm what we've all known for months. Kathleen Kennedy is indeed stepping down at Lucasfilm as the president, and Dave Filoni, currently the creative chief officer of Star Wars, will be elevated to the top job. Filoni will be joined by Llewellyn Brennan, who will handle the business side of the company, while Filoni takes the lead on the creative decisions across film, television, and other Star Wars media. Good. Nothing like putting the cart before the horse. Now, some people can say that we've all known this for months or years or however long you want to talk about this crap. At this point, who cares? Let's just jump to the point that you all want to talk about in this video, that I want to talk about. I don't want to weave you in a history lesson about how we got to where Star Wars is. You lived through it. That'd be like me trying to re explain the pandemic or re explain Y2K. It's like you lived through it. Who gives a shit? Let's move on. So, this reportedly set to confirm news that we're talking about with Kathleen Kennedy. Who gives a damn? Because Star Wars hasn't really been worthwhile in about what, 6 years? We're going on 7 years this coming Christmas. So for over 6 years at this point, you've had this oddly dormant brand. You've had like a video game come out, flopped, it had technical issues, people made fun of it, and then I've seen it on super discount. You've had a few pieces of merchandise, maybe a Disney Plus special here or there, but everything else has been mildly disappointing to massively disappointing. I thought The Mandalorian fell off a while ago. Obi-Wan was bad. A lot of this stuff was bad. So, what I'm asking you guys is, what is Dave Filoni actually inheriting? Is he inheriting the keys to this kingdom of greatness, or is he inheriting keys to a kingdom that has lost its luster a long time ago? And it's kind of sad because there's a certain side of me that personally wants to see this succeed. The rumor that Star Wars the remaster is getting the Aces treatment has me excited as a fan. Some of the merchandise is pretty damn good right now. We're getting play sets and figures that look good. So there are elements of Star Wars that are worthwhile, that are trying. But then you get other stuff like this upcoming Mandalorian film. And let's play a game for a minute. Back in 2017, it was discussed that Rian Johnson would be getting his own trilogy of films. Now, this was right before The Last Jedi came out. And then we were held hostage for the better part of a decade, but that never happened. What happens is people make speculations based on something. So for this, it's this Mandalorian movie is going to come out soon. So they give themselves a little wiggle room of the next 2 to 3 weeks. Then they'll push it back to Star Wars, the movie release week, then Celebration, because they want to tie everything in together to get everybody hyped and get as many clicks as possible. I could believe that. But do I? I don't care enough to believe in anything anymore. I know that sounds very dramatic, but this is YouTube. What do you expect? As a Star Wars fan, I watched a lot of bad movies. I've watched a couple decent movies. But overall, this journey has been pretty lackluster for a long time and pretty terrible for about 10 years. So if Filoni comes in, I don't expect it to magically get better. I don't expect a light switch to be flipped and all of Star Wars' magic is back. Because you're still stuck with a lot of crap. And you got to remember, too, Dave Filoni's made a lot of the stuff we don't like. He's been a part of this. The article says he's been the chief creative officer. Okay.
Your health deserves more than guesswork.
Big difference will that be if he's the president versus what he's doing now? Because they already say this other woman, Llewellyn Brennan, is going to come in to handle the business side of it. Okay, so there's two presidents of Lucasfilm. So what is Dave Filoni going to do differently? If you don't like what they're putting out now, it's not going to magically get better. Kathleen Kennedy isn't tightening the noose on the guy. He has a lot of creative freedom. To think otherwise would be silly. I think what a lot of people have is hope, and hope is a good thing, but it's also dangerous because it can cloud judgment. It can make people hope that these outcome scenarios are a reality. And as a fan, I want this stuff to happen too. But I think it'll just be more of the same stuff. It'll be Mandalorian and Grogu. It'll be random Jedi characters. You'll get stuff from the future. You'll get Clone Wars and more Ahsoka and all of these other things. Characters that he's related to so he can get his royalty check. So they can keep focusing on these Star Wars characters. But what about you? What do you think about this? What Star Wars characters do you want to see Dave Filoni focus on if he's actually become president? Let's take it back a step. Is this actually going to happen? I've heard literally 36 rumors from reliable sources that this is happening. And now we have Puck News, who says they're reportedly set to confirm. Allegedly, what we've known for all, it's too vaguely worded, and to use the phrase official is inaccurate. So when I see an official announcement, I'll believe it. I'm sorry to be all fuddy-duddy and boring, but how many times are people going to believe this shit? Seriously, it's nothing to even get excited over or hyped over. Oh,
Yeah, basically. It's a very popular discussion among Star Wars fans, as I said earlier in the video. But nothing's going to change. If Filoni takes over, he's just inheriting a destroyed legacy. A legacy previously had by George Lucas, then handed over to Empress KK, who took a dump on the franchise, and then is leaving whatever's left to this guy. Honestly, I just, all I can say to this guy is good luck. There's really nothing left with this franchise. It's really sad. It really is.
Most people think selling a house has to be complicated. It really doesn't have to be hard or stressful.
So we've had the rumors, and people have said it's true, it's not true. She said it's not true. But I guess that was for the time being, because now they're saying that Mr. Filoni is actually replacing her. So if that is the case, I want to take a look at this, and I'll give you my opinion on this. And if you've been following me long enough, I think you will already know what I'm thinking. So, the galaxy is about to get a new leader. Via Puck News, Disney is reportedly set to confirm that longtime Star Wars creative Dave Filoni will take over Lucasfilm as Kathleen Kennedy steps down from her role as president. Quote, the next week or two, Disney will finally confirm what we've all known for months. Kathleen Kennedy is indeed stepping down as the Lucasfilm president, and Dave Filoni is currently the chief creative officer of Star Wars and will be elevated to the top job. Filoni will be joined by Linwin Brennan, who will handle the business side of the company while Filoni takes the lead on creative decisions across film, television, and other Star Wars media. Filoni, who has long been seen as the natural successor to Kennedy, currently serves as Lucasfilm's chief creative officer and is best known for his work in The Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka. Fans have credited him with resorting to the spirit of George Lucas' vision for Star Wars, and his elevation has been expected for months, especially after a series of creative missteps under Kennedy's leadership. While Filoni isn't considered a traditional executive, Disney will pair him with Brennan, the current president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business, to balance out the creative and operational aspects of the company. So before we move on, what's interesting is with Marvel, it appears, okay? Let's get that straight. It appears as if they're finally going back to what made it all work, okay? They're like the cheating spouse who's been cheating over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we want a divorce. But then you're like, no, I promise I'll never do it again. And now they're starting to do the things that made us love them in the first place. Let's see if they cheat again. With Star Wars, it seems like they're still going the same track. Even with this new movie coming out, not The Mandalorian and Grogu, but the new movie coming out. Apparently, Rey's still in it. They're trying to take the kid to Rey and all this other garbage. No one cares about Rey. No one cares about Rey. So if that's the case, I guess it doesn't matter who's in charge, right? That's my feeling, at least. He's definitely going to have to prove himself to the fan base, because if they keep going the same way, it's not going to matter. Just a different person sitting in the chair.
At Full Sail, our technology program.
What any of this is about. Today is about Kathleen Kennedy. But like, is it really about Kathleen Kennedy? We will talk about it. Mikey, I'm nervous for this story. And before I get into it, I will tell you why. I'm nervous for the story because I feel like this story has been 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
And there's no possible way that people are going to be kind about this story.
Well,
I don't know that conversations can be civil about this story. So
I don't know the full story, so I'm going to listen to you read it.
okay, and we will do our best. And,
Yeah, go for it.
And everybody, keep on your kind pants, and that is what we shall do. All right. Coming from our man G-Man over at Dark Horizons, Lucasfilm sets its new co-president. Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Brennan are reportedly set to replace Kathleen Kennedy as the new co-president of Lucasfilm, according to a new Puck News report. The outlet claims that in the next week or two, Disney is reportedly set to finally confirm that the pair will take over from Kennedy when she steps down from her role as president. Much like with James Gunn and Peter Safran over at DC Studios, the plan here is to let Filoni handle the creative decisions across film, television, and other media, while Brennan will handle business and operational sides of the company. Filoni has long been seen as the natural successor to Kennedy and currently serves as Lucasfilm's chief creative officer. Brennan is the current president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business. Kennedy's exit has been rumored for more than a year now, but has never resulted in anything concrete. Some of those outlets have even had to walk back those previous reports publicly. It's at the point now, no one is quite sure it'll happen until an actual press release hits the official site. If she is exiting, it follows over a decade of her leading Lucasfilm, with her publicist reportedly preparing a farewell tour for the media. Kennedy's tenure has been marked by highs such as acclaimed Andor, Rogue One, Mandalorian, box office success like Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and games like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It has also been marred by lows, including multiple abandoned projects, the rough production, and subsequent box office flame out of Solo, a fandom far more divided and negative, that's for sure, than it has ever been, and mixed and or divided reception to various TV efforts such as The Acolyte, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka, along with the soft reception to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. All right, Mikey, with our most civil pants on, I'm coming to you. And of the two of us, you are certainly our resident Star Wars dude. How do you feel about this? Do you think that it is true? And do you think that these two successors are the right choice?
Okay, let's get into this. Well, yes, when they talk about the Kennedy thing, this has been going on, they said a decade. It just feels like, because there's been such a roller coaster and Star Wars was so, I guess now it has been 10 years since Force Awakens, or just 10 years ago. So that seems crazy. But that was a massive hit. I mean, all the Star Wars films have been hits financially. There have some, even Solo, which I don't think got close to like the trilogy films as box office. I think it made money. I could be wrong. I think it made money. So there's but then the Indiana Jones was, in that article it said soft reception. I mean, I think that's putting it mildly. That was and see, I think that's the one that cost like $400 million or $450 million.
Exactly.
So a massive, hit. And so there's been the ups and downs. She has had her wins, and like anyone, but if you look at her history as a producer, it's an incredible legacy. So I think the thought Harloff and I've always had was she was going to go out on a high note. We always said if Indiana Jones did what we thought it was going to do, we thought that movie would kill. She'll leave on that. She'll go, okay, I'm out. I'm done. But it seems like I don't know of a surefire hit of what she would leave on now. Like we got Mandalorian Grogu. I think that'll do okay. I don't think it's going to be.
You don't think that will be successful enough for her to leave?
Here's the thing. Disney Plus has done something that I don't really see happening on other streamers. Like Disney it's still a powerhouse. And what they do are still powerhouse films. For every bomb they have a $1 billion film. But they've conditioned their audiences to wait for Disney Plus. And when you've got a show that we were introduced to on Disney Plus that was season 4 of a Disney Plus series that they said, you know what, make it a movie. How many people will be there? If you've got Star Wars in your bio, you're going to be there championing this film. But the general audiences that this film needs to grab that pay $180 a year for Disney Plus, they're going to wait at home. It's what they did with Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Captain America. People talk like, oh, Doomsday's going to save the MCU. Doomsday's an outlier. It's like Spider-Man or Daredevil and Wolverine. Like those films they break the Disney Plus streaming thing. People want it because they're event films. You've got to be there to see it. But it's these smaller ones. Yeah.
If we're keeping this do you think the story is true? And do you think that these two are the right successors? Are you yes and no? Are you yes and yes?
I think this is true. 100% think it's true. 10 years ago, I would have said this is awesome news. But in the interim, and Harloff, he'll say his thoughts because I know exactly what he's going to say. He was a Dave Filoni cheerleader from the beginning, but Filoni is so steeped in the lore of Star Wars, and he's so attached to Lucas's vision of it. He's very and he's what I call insider baseball. He knows so much, and he created so much of the beloved Star Wars universe with Clone Wars and Ahsoka, but he's so attached to that. So any like his shows that he did, Ahsoka stuff, like it was so insider baseball. If you didn't watch the Clone Wars stuff, you're like, what's going on here? So to put your guy in charge, that you have to get my parents involved. You have to get, my best friend's kids that are 9 involved.
Yeah, but cute little baby.
That only goes so far, Rocks. Like
for the kids, I think it goes pretty far.
Yeah, but it's like
Cute
BB-8 was supposed to be the new R2-D2, and he kind of went by the wayside. And Grogu was a hit. I mean, Grogu was a massive hit. Like they nailed that. But also, it screwed themselves because then they tried to shoehorn him in any chance they got. They separated Mando and Grogu, and which should have been awesome. And then next time we saw them, they're back together. Never mind, we got them back together. Oh, now they're going to be in a movie together. And like the whole point of those two characters was Mando was returning Grogu to where he was supposed to go. And then audiences loved him. So now they're attached to the hip forever now.
Before we get to what Christian thinks on this, because Mikey and I haven't heard what Christian thinks, so I'm excited to play those voice notes. But do you know anything about, like, I understand this completely wrecks my credibility. Not that I have Star Wars credibility anyway, but Lin-Wen Brennan is not a name I know. Do you know?
I've never heard that name.
Okay.
Never.
So maybe Christian will have some thoughts for us on that. Obviously, if that is the Peter Safran of this, we wouldn't have heard his name to the same extent. So
but
of
I've
course,
never
this
seen him.
is more about Filoni.
Like, so Safran and Gunn seem like a duo. They're always together. Like, I've seen Filoni quite a bit in interviews or Summit Celebration. I've never seen I've never seen a picture of this person, so I don't know if it's a man or a woman.
In the chat, they're saying she, so that makes me think.
But I was like, Lynn, I know a man named Lynn, so I've never seen this person.
Lin-Wen too. I don't know. Laurie,
I've never seen this person, so I don't know.
Let's hear what Christian had to say about this. I'm going to be playing this on a voice note from my phone, so give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Hold on.
All right.
I think we all knew that there was a change coming, and I think that the fact that you now have this slightly confirmed, I'm pretty sure from people that I heard from too, this is pretty legit. And I actually ran into Snyder the other night when I was in LA, and he said the same thing, that this was coming soon. So as far as Filoni, look, you guys know my thoughts on it. I don't think it's the right move. I think that they sat around and they said, oh, let's do the James Gunn Safran thing. The difference is that James Gunn has tremendous amount of experience as opposed to Dave Filoni. Does Dave Filoni know the lore? 100%. Is he a Star Wars fan? 100%. But I think he's too caught up in the way that the thing should be with the old George Lucas philosophy with story. That's the way it should be. But with other things, I feel like we're going to be making live action cartoons, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm 100% wrong, and I hope he proves everybody wrong, and that this is actually burning for it.
Hold on. Okay, that was the first part. Here's the second part of the message.
This message is sponsored by Raycon. I am living in a Raycon world now, man. Everywhere I go, the gym, walking the dog, subway, my little one.
Point, and this is the same thing as with Gunn and Safran. Oftentimes when these regime changes happen, we don't actually know what the result is for years, because the studios have planned movies and shows out and video games so far in advance that even if this takes place after Mandalorian and Grogu or Starfighter, we're probably looking at 5 years away from seeing what the actual impact of Filoni would be.
It's here. I was thinking about that. It's tough too, because, and again, this divided a lot of people, but when Gunn came in, he made the choice to say, I'm starting over. No Cavill, no Affleck. This is done. Filoni's coming in and we don't know what he's saying, but Star Wars has never had these different collective universes. It's always been Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'll say this now that I don't know how to pronounce her name, Chabade, the Ray movie director. I think that movie's gone. I don't think that's happening. I think it's like when a studio exec comes in and a pilot or a movie's in production or a movie's in pre-production. Nope, that's the old studio. I'm not being attached to that. So they start cutting everything to start over. So I think Starfighter, that's going. I mean, that's of course going. And Mando Grogu, I think after that, it's a completely different thing. I think all those projects, the Taika thing is gone. I mean, I think it's been gone for a while. I don't think Mangold Star Wars is going to take off because it's that old thing is like, if it's a bomb, then it's stuck on the neck of the new person. But if it's successful, they didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's just like, well, I can't get the flowers for that. So I think, like you said, it's going to be a period of, but who knows? I mean, maybe because this has been in the works for a while, maybe it's a smoother transition than that. I have no clue. No clue.
That's what they say. Success has many parents, but failure is an orphan. Nobody wants to claim it. And yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Just to what Harlow said, like that's why, and he thinks he doesn't. He's never said this. We don't know, but he thinks Filoni does not like Andor because it was so different from what Lucas and what they did. So, I have a feeling we will never see stuff like Andor again, and it's a sad thing because that's probably one of the best things Star Wars has done. Again, in our opinions, it doesn't matter. That's for the general. Who knows? Public, but who knows?
Yeah, I wonder if Filoni is extremely aware of the sentiment towards him from people like you and Christian, and if what his thoughts on that are. Like if he's like, no, this will be the Filoni verse, or if he's like, I am gonna hire the right people and have them do the right projects and kind of be more hands off, and like less like a gun and more like a of course I'm blanking on Marvel Feige. I don't know, maybe I don't know that Filoni's capable of being a little bit hands off, but you never know.
You never know. We all we're doing is healthy speculation because with Feige, we don't know, but apparently he's very hands on everything, and that got to the point why Marvel had that run where things were not good because he was stretched too thin because he was everywhere. And again, I say this because like I was all in on Star Wars for so long, and then I just kind of drifted away and I didn't watch a lot of the shows because it just didn't capture me anymore. And that's kind of sad. I feel like Andor was the thing that brought me in. I think this Starfighter seems like a thing that's really kind of going to bring me back in. So who knows? Who knows? I maybe he looks at the trilogy like, oh, when Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, they really dropped a bomb on that. We're never going back to that kind of thing.
I want this from you guys so bad. I want it to be somebody that you guys are happy about and that you feel good about. Did you have a dream announcement for this?
No. See, it's tough because 10 years ago, I would have said Filoni, 100%. He was the guy I knew as the Star Wars guy. Like when Gunn was announced, I'm like, yep, perfect. He will be great at this. Like I just knew from because there was never a period where Gunn started doing stuff where I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like this now. Now seeing Gunn, I'm excited for DC directed not by him. I'm like, okay, he's bringing his sensibilities. There's some things
like
in Superman.
Supergirl, you're very excited for
right.
Supergirl.
There was some stuff in Superman, like I didn't need the needle drops. That is a very Gunn thing. But it's like saying going to a Tarantino movie and saying you don't want this. It's a Tarantino. It's a Gunn thing. I would love to see these projects that are shepherded by him, but with a director's vision. Like I cannot wait for Clayface. I cannot wait for that movie.
You and me both. I'm very excited for Clayface.
So I like, and I think he is a kind of man that knows when to step away and go, no, this is their film. I give him notes, and I think it should be this. But he's not going to go, you know what? This needs a needle drop. Because that's his thing. That's him as a director. He's not going to force that on some other director. So Filoni, like, it'll be interesting to see like his first pick for what he wants to do and who's going to direct it. So we'll see.
As I'm looking in the live chat, it is interesting that not one person has said that they think that this is fake news. There has not been one person.
Oh,
who's like,
and I think Brock's because. No, I'm sorry.
I think that people know it's been rumored for so long.
Yeah,
they say a year. It's actually been rumored for longer than that. People have been reading the tea leaves, the writing on the wall, And so
Yeah.
while people have opinions whether Filoni is right or wrong, not one person is like, no, I think Kathleen Kennedy's sticking
Now-
around. I haven't seen
Okay.
that tweet, which is interesting.
Here's something for you, Rocks. So we talk Filoni and Star Wars and Lucasfilm, but this also would entail Indiana Jones. And this is like, I know Filoni
That's
is a Star
interesting for
Wars
me,
guy.
Mikey. I think that's interesting for you, Mikey.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, we
I like
hone
Indy.
in.
I like Indy, but I wasn't out here naming my dog Indy. Like you're the Indy guy. So
Yeah.
I always, of course, when we hear Lucasfilms, we think Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. But that's a
Right.
great point. What does that mean for Indiana Jones? Any excitement for you?
No, because
Okay.
the reason I say this is because they keep beating a dead horse with that. I want Indiana Jones to. It's over. It doesn't. But I know Kennedy was a very big. She wanted to. There's talk of a TV show and talk of a rebooted movie, and I'm like,
What about
maybe-
Filoni? Any idea Filoni's thoughts on
no,
Indiana
that's what I'm saying. Like, I have no clue what this guy's thoughts on it. So maybe he's going to be like, no, Indy's great. Indy's George Lucas and Spielberg. That's done. We ain't going back to that. And if he makes that decision, that man has earned so much goodwill from me. That will go a huge way. If he goes, you know what? Our Star Wars is a mess right now. We're fixing this. Indy is Indy. Indy is done. We did it. They're great films that those
Very
guys did. I know, because when there's money, got to milk that teat. Got to milk that teat.
Luke, you know what to do.
Yeah, so most people are saying the same thing. It changes nothing. Nothing's going to change. Kennedy actually leaves today or tomorrow or next week. Filoni is inheriting a disaster, absolute disaster. And as great a job as he did in the Clone Wars, he's just not the person you want leading the charge. Whether he's trained by George Lucas or not, doesn't matter. He's not the guy for the job. He's the type of guy you have behind the scenes, working behind the curtain, not on the front lines.
You, just you, building your app.
Winning community.
Yes. And whoever that lady was, she predicted it too.
That lady was right too.
yeah, she predicted it before we even made the video.
Hashtag I was right.
I think I've just discovered.
Are you
Was that
still on
words?
TikTok?
Oh no, it's in my head now. It's in my head. The demon's in my mind. It's got me.
She wormed her way in.
Yeah, it's there now.
It's okay.
And then what's the scroll down? I'm gonna get the lady's name there. If it says it, according to Bologna, I call him Bologna.
Linwin Brennan.
Linwin Brennan will handle the studio aspect, like Peter Safran does with DC Studios, and Dave Filoni will handle the creative. Is
Well,
Star
we're
Wars? Is Star Wars saved? Everybody.
Oh God, no.
Dave Filoni, who has been a creative executive for many a year now, so signed off on a lot of the stuff that we recently had. Acolyte, Ahsoka. Ahsoka's his baby. And I was pondering this last night, Mahler. Aside from the Acolyte, what's the worst D+ series? I think it's between two.
Ooh, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi is absolutely a top contender.
Yep.
Well, I suppose you thinking Book of Boba Fett?
I think Ahsoka could make a run.
So I'm gonna agree with Mueller on this one, with Kenobi being pretty bad, and two worst. I didn't see Boba Fett, so I can't comment on that one. Probably Ahsoka and Kenobi. If I do my own input on this, Kenobi kind of just destroyed the timeline, and Ahsoka is just a friggin' mess of a show. It's ironic considering where it originates from, a garbage Space 11 show that I skipped personally.
A serious run for it.
I think that's fair. I mean, I quite hated Mando season 3 was something else. That fucking Jack Black episode with Liz out.
Oh, Gary Maidens watched that.
I did, and I'm gonna make you watch Mandaloo.
Mandaloo.
Mandaloo. The Mandaloo.
I am not missing watching Mandaloo and the Green Fucker.
Oh, and Ahsoka
I
season
want
2.
some of that
We
Star
got
Wars
Ahsoka season 2
stuff.
this year.
Hell yeah, man.
Where this time Ezra is going to go back to the other universe to save the other two and strand himself back there again
And give up his lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh, he's been training with a lightsaber for the season 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's really great.
Yeah. And I was watching something the other day, and I can't quite remember what the source was, but it was discussing how everyone thought it would be a really, really bad idea for Sabine to be Force sensitive. And what does he do?
Yep.
He goes and makes her Force sensitive, and suddenly she's a better Jedi than fucking Ezra.
They gotta flick their Sabine.
Oh yeah, flick my Sabine. Fuck me.
Apparently it got delayed a little bit, so it's going to be later this year. I have zero thoughts on this. I think this changes nothing. If it happens, it changes nothing. Disney Star Wars forges ahead, being the failure that it is, and it'll try to bring. How's that Rey movie doing?
Oh,
coming right along.
Coming right along.
Ooh.
Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter. So you
going right along.
It's because it's really
finished,
great.
It's finished now, isn't it?
It's really great to repeat a primary word in a title, guys.
Hell yeah!
Just stop putting Star Wars, please. It's not Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi. It's just Return of the Jedi.
Well,
The Empire Strikes Back.
Sean Levy, who admittedly has had as much work on his face, or maybe even more than Millie Bobby Brown. Look at him, man. His eyebrows don't come down. They're like, he's going to be directing it. He directed a couple of episodes of the Stranger Things finale.
Are you going to address his recent major box office success?
Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your favorite movie. It was on your top 5 list. I remember. It's had tons of cultural impact. People discuss it all the time.
Loved it.
I always thought my job was
Moral of the story is that this is going to change nothing. Whether it's Filoni or your cousin or next door neighbor taking over Lucasfilm, doesn't matter anymore. Characters people like are gone, and the geniuses of Lucasfilm they just can't get away from the original trilogy for whatever reason. I personally haven't figured it out. I have no idea why they can't just branch the frick out, do something original. The video games don't have that problem. say what you will about outlaws or fall mood or survivors, but they're still pretty good stories, in my opinion. Yeah, this changes nothing. But thankfully for me, I always had the expanded universe to fall back on because Disney Wars is just it's a sinking ship.